Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for the TNA Event Center report. And now here's the man to give you all the total non-stop action and impactful report, Mr. Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans in 1977. Episode number 2166 of the show. About over 2 hours ago, we finished up Rant. And it's already Friday, April the 11th, 2025, 12:46 a.m. And the reason why I'm up late because I'm on vacation still. And I'm on this the weekend. It's my final vacation, though, of the rest of the year, as you know. And I think it's going to be Monday through Friday for a while until, otherwise. But, and if I do end up getting Saturdays back, it'll be a different story. But, however, how about right now? It's still Monday for Friday. If they're keeping me on Monday for Friday, no problem there. So, but we shall see what happens, though. As we're into the springtime, of course, we're still tweenering between spring and winter. We have some cooler weather. We have cool weather, spring weather type coming. Next week's going to be in the 50s, of course. Usually weirder things have happened. It has not snowed at all since, was the last time it snowed? Holy mackerel. We have to go date back in, February? The last day of February, maybe? That's when the last time it snowed. It was that. I know we had, it was crazy. I think it was over, I think over the weekend in February, possibly, because was back in February. It snowed, and that's about it. And I think we canceled service a couple times. I think we didn't attend service. We during the winter we missed a lot of church because a lot of us got sick, and snow and everything else, and so I kind of felt bad about missing church service in the beginning of the year because of all that, and it was really, really bad, and I think I think to me personally, ever since my good friend Mark Supernat passed away in 2012, I think morale in my church has gone down a bit as a result, and I think that's why a lot of people have left. I think possibly because of that. I don't know, but that's my theory on it. And because sometimes you feel that when did when the first domino started to fall and all that, and it has been difficult because we did lose a lot of people in our church they left our church via death. We had a family in our church, the Wilmots. They lost their daughter with 2021, I do believe. I know I think it was 2021 because she was in the same hospital as my dad, so that was a really difficult time. And we knew her because they used to attend our church. So, yeah, a lot of things have happened, a lot of things have happened. I think we've been hit with a lot of stuff, and yeah, I get concerned sometimes. I get really concerned, but I'll be all right. But I'll be okay. God's got my back. That's all that matters. We just finished Rant and Rave not too long ago. The chat harassing me about lima beans and hamburgers and cheeseburgers, and everyone wants me to taste them. Listen, I am not a trained monkey. I am not going to eat anything they ask me to. Anything in the chat. Just suggest me to play video games like Godfather Dom does. That's about it. Unbelievable. You want me to roast a wrestler? Let me know. I'm doing that with Lima. Don't play that. Speaking of wrestlers, Ethan Page kicks off Impact. As you know, Ethan Page will be part of a fatal four-way this coming Tuesday to decide who will go to stand in the limit to challenge Ricky Saints for the North American title. And Ethan Page made it clear he wants to challenge Ricky Saints, but we'll see what happens. So, as you know, Rebellion is coming up on the 27th. So, Ethan Page has got some pretty time. Has some plenty of time, and he said, he came out, bragged to the St. Joseph crowd, and that he was the longest reigning tag team champion. He calls them hillbillies, but he was talking to the people, not you hillbillies out there. he says, and he starts running his mouth up, wanting to be TNA champion, and there comes Frankie Kazarian saying he wants to be the champion, and Santino Marella told him, hey, Joe Hendry will come out to give us his status on the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. So GML interviews Steve Macklin as he gets ready for his matchup against Eddie Edwards, but then Eric Young and the Northern Armory interrupt him, saying you have a decision to make. Then Ace Austin went one-on-one with Mustafa Ali of the Order 4, as they were known as. It's Ace Austin, Tasha Steelz, and the Great Hands. And during the matchup, Mustafa Ali was about had enough of Ace Austin getting the best of him. He hit Austin with a chair, giving Austin the victory via disqualification. And they decided him and the Great Hands decided to attack Ace Austin until the Great Hands were holding him. And Mustafa Ali was about to hit him with a chair, but then Mike Santana snuck in behind. And then Mustafa Ali must have sensed his presence, tried to swing a chair. Santana knocked it out. And then they all scattered. They all fled the ring. So there's that. And then Order 4 got really ticked off about Mike Santana. Says, I'm over him. Let's leave the arena. They hop into the SUV. So driver, let's go. Driver. And then the driver looked at him, where to? Where do you want to go? And all of a sudden, the rest of the Order 4 fled, except for John Schuyler, who has been held hostage by Mike Santana. You see, Mustafa Ali, you run your mouth, you disrespect somebody like Mike Santana and his friend Derek, you're going to pay a heavy price. So, and Cody Deaner was going to go one-on-one with Moose. Deaner addresses the crowd. Hey, well, should I join the system or not? But then JDC interrupt. JDC, he gets excited, and JDC said, hey, you have not won a matchup. Why don't you join the system? Should I join the system? He says, no. And then he goes, and then Moose goes, you're so stupid. How come you, when's the last time you won a match? Here's the deal then. If you can last 2 minutes in the ring with me, 2 minutes in the ring, I'll give you an X Division title shot. Cody Deaner goes, you know what? People have spoken. Fine, get 2 minutes on the clock. So 2 minutes on the clock, they were wrestling each other, and then Moose gets out of the ring. Cody Deaner chases him, and then you got the system trying to get involved, and he's avoiding them and all. He gets back in the ring. 2 minutes are up. He gets the shot, the X Division title. So the regular matchup was supposed to be for the X Division, is now for the X Division title, and Moose wins it easily. So the system was attacking Deaner after the matchup, but then the next matchup happened really quick because the Rascals came out with baseball bats, and it's the Rascals versus JDC and Brian Myers, and JDC and Brian Myers ended up picking up the victory in that matchup. Now the first international title tournament match. Now remember, there are 3 triple threat matches. And whoever wins those matches will be competing in a triple threat at Rebellion to crown, or as an Unbreakable, to crown a new first ever international champion of TNA. So, the way things are right now, let's check out. It was supposed to be. I'm gassing up a storm today. Don't know what's wrong with me. I'm out of my mind here. It was supposed to be. In one of the matches, it was supposed to be Sami Callihan versus Eric Young and JDC. But Sami Callihan tells Santino he wants Mance Warner. So Sami Callihan and Zachary Wentz switch places. So it'll be Zachary Wentz versus Eric Young and JDC. Well, this matchup was Sami Callihan versus Mance Warner and AJ Francis. Sami Callihan was so obsessed with destroying Mance Warner, AJ Francis took advantage of the situation of First Class and ends up winning the matchup. So he'll face the winner of the Zachary Wentz, Eric Young, JDC matchup, and then the Eddie Edwards, Ace Austin, Steve Macklin matchup. The winners of those 2 matches will face AJ Francis for Um, so will be declared a new international champion. I think it's either having an Unbreakable or in Rebellion. We shall see. So AJ Francis advances. Stephen Lander and helps out Mance Warner, tries to comfort him, help him up, and gets involved during the matchup. And then Sami Callihan was busting out with weapons like crazy and everything else. He was obsessed with destroying Mance Warner. And then Santino Marella got upset with him to the point where he goes, what we got to do to end this? I want to end it. I want to make sure this ends, and here's one way to do it. Let's make the match that Abyss made famous and everybody in TNA made famous before me. I'm going to make famous. Bob Wire Massacre at Unbreakable. So Santino Marella goes, done. I'll make the matchup. Meanwhile, UK standout Leon Slater faced Ryan Nemeth, one half of the Nemeth brothers, and Slater ended up winning that matchup. Mike Santana has John Skyler captive, and basically he's trying to use John Skyler to get to Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali thinks he's over Mike Santana. Nah, you didn't win cleanly, pal. Remember that. Steve Macklin went one-on-one with Eddie Edwards, and during the matchup, Alicia Edwards, JDC, Brian Myers, they all got involved. Eric Young in the Northern Armory distracted him, and distracted Steve Macklin, and it cost Macklin the matchup. Edwards wins the matchup, and then Eric Young's mask was thrown in the ring, and Steve Macklin, well, I don't think he's very, very happy, but we'll find out for sure. But then finally, Joe Hendry addresses the St. Joseph crowd. He says he's got a hurt shoulder, but he's in full medical steps, and he will defend the title at Rebellion, despite his shoulder injury. I think by then, his shoulder could be okay. Kazarian comes out, interrupts Hendry, saying that he'll walk out with a championship if he can walk, and he's got the advantage. But then Joe Hendry says, nah, it'll be me that will walk out with a championship despite this bum shoulder. So we'll see what happens. Joe Hendry is determined, and I gotta respect him for that. So there you are. So that is it for the episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans, 1977, episode 2166, TNA Event Center for the 10th of April, 2025. And even though it is today, I want to get some sleep, and then when I get up later on in the morning, I will play some Bullseye. We got SmackDown. Who knows? I'll throw in more nostalgic Shenanigans. Or Lima don't play that. I'm using those. I'm trying to take full advantage of the 2 new segments that I have, and hopefully I will get a Shenanigans arcade going again. I'm possibly gonna play a little bit of Mario Kart. We'll see what happens there. All right. So that's all the time we have on the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. Until next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and do it for Bob Saget production, and in association with a Raven Bofa 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.